What's up, SKOL Nation? If you thought the offseason drama was slowing down, think again, because the Minnesota Vikings are right in the middle of a financial chess match that could define the next few years. And trust me, what's happening behind the scenes with the salary cap is even more intense than what we're seeing on the field. There's a huge twist in this story that most fans are missing right now, and it could completely change how we view the team's future. We're talking about millions of dollars, strategic moves, and decisions that could either set up a Super Bowl run or delay it. So stay locked in, because we're breaking this down like real Vikings fans. What's real, what's not, and what it all means for the Minnesota Vikings moving forward. The first thing we need to clear up is this. Not everything being reported out there lines up with reality. Some of the names being linked to the Vikings cap situation, like Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, are not actually part of Minnesota's roster or recent signings. That's where things get tricky in the world of NFL rumors. Sometimes reports mix up teams, contracts, or timelines, and as true fans, we've got to separate fact from noise. The Vikings never signed those defensive tackles to the deals being mentioned. But here's the real story. The Vikings' salary cap situation is intense, and the way they're handling it is actually pretty fascinating. Let's go back to where this all started. The Minnesota Vikings entered the offseason buried around $40+ million over the salary cap. That's not just a small problem. That's a full-blown crisis. When you're that far over, every single decision becomes critical. You're talking about restructures, releases, extensions. Every move has a ripple effect across the roster. And over the past weeks, we've seen the Vikings aggressively attack that problem, making tough but necessary decisions to get back into a workable position. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Vikings didn't just cut their way out of trouble. They restructured contracts, moved money into future years, and created short-term flexibility. That's why, even after all those moves, they're sitting with roughly under $10 million in cap space heading into the next phase of free agency. And let's be honest, Vikings fans, that's not a lot. It means every dollar from here on out has to be spent wisely. One name that keeps coming up in real discussions is Brian O'Neill. Extending him could open up more cap space immediately. That's a classic move in the NFL. Reward a core player while also lowering their current cap hit. It's a win-win if done right. And for a player like O'Neill, who's been a cornerstone on the offensive line, it makes total sense for the Minnesota Vikings to explore that option. Another angle fans are watching closely is the possibility of trades. Not because the Vikings want to rebuild, but because they might need flexibility. Moving a player can free up cap space, but it also comes with risk. You're weakening one area to strengthen another. So the front office has to be extremely calculated here. This isn't Madden. This is real life with real consequences. Now let's talk about the man behind the curtain, Rob Brzezinski. If you've followed the Vikings, you know this guy is a cap wizard. Year after year, he finds ways to maneuver through tough financial situations and keep the team competitive. And once again, it looks like he's playing the long game, thinking not just about 2026, but 2027 and beyond. That's the part a lot of fans overlook. Sometimes the moves you don't understand today are setting up something big tomorrow. By pushing money into future years or restructuring deals, the Vikings are essentially betting on a stronger cap position down the line. It's risky, but if it works, it could give Minnesota a huge advantage in future free agency windows. Let's be real though, this strategy comes with pressure. If the team doesn't perform, those future cap hits can come back to haunt you. Dead money, limited flexibility, tough roster decisions, it can all stack up fast. So the Vikings are walking a tightrope right now, balancing present competitiveness with future stability. And that brings us to the fans, because your expectations matter in all of this. Do you want the team to go all in right now, even if it risks the future? Or play it safe and build sustainably? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is where the debate gets real. One thing is certain, the Minnesota Vikings are not sitting still. Every move they're making is calculated. They're not panicking, they're adapting. And in today's NFL, that's exactly what you need to survive. But the question remains, is it enough to compete with the top teams in the NFC? Because let's face it, the conference is stacked. And cap space alone doesn't win games. It's about how you use it, who you sign, who you keep, and who you let go. And right now, every decision the Vikings make carries extra weight. there's also the emotional side of this. Fans get attached to players, and cap decisions often mean saying goodbye. That's the business side of football, and it's never easy. But if it leads to a stronger, more competitive Minnesota Vikings team, it might be worth it. So as we move deeper into the offseason, keep your eyes open. More moves are coming. Extensions, signings, maybe even surprises that nobody sees coming. That's the beauty and chaos of NFL free agency. And if there's one thing we know about the Vikings, they're never boring. So buckle up, SKOL Nation, because this ride is far from over. The salary cap drama, the roster moves, the long-term strategy, it's all building towards something bigger. And we're going to be here breaking it down every step of the way. If you're loving these updates on the Minnesota Vikings and want to stay ahead of all the latest Noticias dos Minnesota Vikings news, make sure you smash that like button. Drop your opinion in the comments. What move should the Vikings make next? And don't forget to subscribe and share this with every Vikings fan you know, because this offseason is just getting started. SKOL.